the podcast. We are here to do our spoiler hot review of Superman, the new Superman movie, the one from James Gunn, that's got everybody talking. Good things, bad things. What it's doing at the box office, what it's doing in foreign countries. It seems to be a regular point of conversation for a lot of people right now in fandom. So we're gonna break it down. We're gonna tell you what we liked, what we didn't like. We're going to dive deep. That's kind of where we're going to go with this thing. So join in. Feel free to send us notifications on Twitter or on YouTube with the with the old @ symbol. And if you got any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. But Rich, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into this, pal.
Let's get into
General
it.
impressions of Superman.
Man, it 1A'd me in the face with optimism, hope, joy. I liked it. I mean, was it a perfect movie? No. But overall, I think it worked. I think James Gunn accomplished what he set out to accomplish to do.
Right.
I had fun. My wife had fun, which is saying a lot. She's not one for comic book movies, but we went
Okay.
and saw this on opening weekend, and she has a general understanding of the Superman mythos. So she had a few questions, but I mean, if she liked it, then general audiences probably liked it. And I do like that it has gotten a lot of people talking. I think that's what you want out of a movie, good or bad. The
Sure.
worst thing that could have happened is just opened up and been a dud and nobody's talking about it, but people are talking about it. And so we're 1 week past release date. We're going on the second weekend, so we'll see what kind of a nosedive in ticket sales this does for the second week after a week's worth of word of mouth, and go from there. But I liked it. There were some things I didn't like, which we'll talk about, but overall, I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was a fun time at the movies.
Okay. Cool. Um, I will echo that it was a fun time, but my general feelings about the film are very simple. I was offended by it.
Offended?
I was offended by it. Yeah,
Wow.
I found it offensive to me as a creative. I found it offensive to me as as a Superman fan. I found it offensive to me as somebody who spent money to go see this thing. Um, I'm not saying I didn't have a good time with it, but it didn't even come close to my expectations. It's the first comic book movie where I think I can say confidently that it was flawed. Objectively flawed. And I've never used that term objectively to describe a comic book movie in my life. But I think when it comes to the art of filmmaking, the craft of filmmaking, the craft of writing, this thing just kind of failed to objectively reach certain objectives. I just said objectives to reach objectives. I'm sorry. It just it just didn't it just didn't provide, right? I would say also that I was right. Every prediction I made about this film was correct. I think you'll go ahead and agree with me on that. I don't think that there's anything I said in the months leading up to this release or the whatever, the half a year leading up to this release where we were talking about it, where I didn't make a single false prediction.
We'll
Like,
have
I'm
to we'll
pretty
have to
sure I
review
got
those.
all of them.
Yeah, I don't remember those, so you'll have to remind me what those were.
Well, I told you it was gonna be a James Gunn film featuring Superman. That's what it was. The whole film is James Gunn. Like his whole personality, his tone, his sense of humor, his sensibilities, that overwhelmed the entire film, like without a doubt. I don't think anybody can argue against that. Like it even got to a point where it overpowered Superman as a character
Hmm.
in my mind. That's that's kind of how I saw it. I don't know if you would agree with that. I also said that it was going to be an action comedy, and they were going to lean heavily into the cartoony, campish comedy, and they did that. It was very cartoony, it was very campish, and they definitely lead into the comedy pretty hard, right? I also said that Crypto was going to be an animal gag, and that's exactly what he turned out to be. He had a few heroic moments, yes, but it was just kind of an animal gag for me, if I'm being honest, right? So, but let's let's get away from the general stuff and let's get into some details. And I want to start with what we liked first, okay?
Sure.
So for me, I really like the Kents. I really found them real and authentic, and they had some grit, and they had some layers to them. I found that interesting. I wasn't a huge fan. Like, I know a lot of people have been pretty critical, saying that James Gunn basically turned the Kents into rednecks. I don't think that's a fair criticism. I think that there's a lot of different people out in the world that have very different lifestyles, different mindsets, different dispositions, different character. And I just feel like these people were salt of the earth. And I really like that about them. Um, John, the Kents in MOS are still my favorite because they play such a larger role in the story. But I really like the Kents in this. I thought Lois brought an amazing performance, or sorry, Rachel Brosnan uh, delivered an incredible performance. I thought she was amazing. I loved the Lois character in this. I thought that was great. Um, I liked most of the supporting characters. I was actually pleasantly surprised by the Justice Gang and how much I liked the Justice Gang and how much I enjoyed their scenes, their action sequences. I really enjoyed that. And let's face it, dude, Nathan Fillion killed it as Guy Gardner.
I knew he
Like
was gonna kill it as Guy Gardner.
murdered it.
Perfect casting.
Yeah. Like, call the cops. There's been a murder. It's Nathan Fillion on the Guy Gardner because he killed it. Like, he nailed that character. And as much as I said that this film was objectively flawed, that's not one of the flaws. James Gunn nailed Guy Gardner's voice. He nailed everything about Guy Gardner in his script, and I thought that that was awesome. Mr. Terrific stole every scene he was in. Although I would say that a small caveat would be that he felt very Booyah to me, like very cyborg Booyah, almost kind of cartoonish, almost kind of close to the black exploitation a little bit. I love Edie Gathegi. I think he's one. I think he's an incredible actor. And I hope to God that he gets more roles like within the genre stuff because he's amazing. He's my favorite character in Startup. I don't know if you've seen Startup.
Mm-mm.
Such a great show. He plays this Haitian gangster. Amazing, just amazing. That guy's amazing. I love him as an actor. But I did feel like they were kind of moving into the more cartoonish caricature that Cyborg was back in like the 80s and 90s. Granted, you couldn't really hear Cyborg because you were reading him off the page, but you got a sense of kind of where they were coming from with that stuff. The other thing I would say is um, the engineer was pretty cool. I enjoyed the engineer. Um, and Lex had a few moments, but I ultimately cannot sit here and put like Lex broadly on my good list. So, and I haven't really said anything about Superman, but that's the point. This version of Superman, I don't know. Sure, like I liked the rescue scenes. I thought they were cool, but I also felt emotionally manipulated by the way that James Gunn was using the camera throughout the entire thing. Like, after every save or after every big moment, the camera would go to a child or to somebody and they would be having a reaction to what they just witnessed. And that felt kind of very cartoonish, campy, kind of manipulative to me. So, anyways, what did you like?
Yeah, I think casting all around I liked. I think
Yeah,
everybody was cast well. The Kents, I get why the Kents weren't used a lot in this film because if you skip the origin, the Kents don't play as much of a role, right? So we're
right.
in media res. We're starting in the middle of the action. So the Kents don't play a big of a role in here. So I understand why they weren't in the movie as much. But I did like we talked about the redneckish, the rednecky of it all, but I liked it. It's very, very much how I kind of pictured the Kents as small town homey folks,
Right.
um, and American Southern accent all around. It was fine. I didn't find it offensive being from the South, but I mean, I even like Ma Candace like, "I'll get your shoes." Like, it was such a mom thing, right? It was
I'll get
so
your
good.
boots.
Yeah, "I'll get your
I cleaned
boots." You
I cleaned your boots. I
I
cleaned your
cleaned your
boots.
boots.
I'll go get them.
Um, yeah, and then Pa Ken is like, that, what you hear or what you get from Jor-El's message means more than what was actually said. Like, very
Yeah.
salt of the earth type of advice. So I thought
Yeah.
the Kents were great.
Yeah. Yep.
Nathan Fillion, second the casting. I have never pictured Guy Gardner on the big screen, but now that Nathan Fillion is in it,
Yeah.
I can't picture anybody else playing him and
Yeah.
really embodying the um, assholishness of Guy Gardner, right?
Yeah.
And still being likable. Like he's that lovable jerk that you want on your side.
Yeah.
And he really embraced that. I thought Hot Girl was okay. I think he could have replaced it with literally any other hero, flying hero, and it would have been
The
fine.
screeching was too much, man. The hawk
Well,
cry was
Hot
just
Girl,
too much, dude. Yeah,
Hot
but
Girl.
that's not Hawk Girl's never done that before. Like Hawk Girl was prominent in the Justice League cartoon, and I don't remember doing a hawk cry, not once. Like she was a prominent character, so I don't remember that a single time. Again, this is Gunn overwhelming the canon, overwhelming the content. But go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Yeah, so Hot Girl was replaceable to me. Mr. Terrific, I second everything you said about Mr. Terrific, so I'm not going to repeat all that, but he was great.
Yeah,
His 1 minute, one take fight scene is you're talking about this is a James Gunn
awesome.
movie. That was a James Gunn shot. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what it reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy hallway fight
yeah,
scene, I think in the third one or the second one.
yeah,
So
yeah.
very Gunnian of that one. Rachel
Best fight scene in
Brosnahan
the best fight
was
scene in the whole movie.
yeah, best fight scene, and with the pop
Yeah,
track and our perspective being from Lois Lane in there and watching it all happen, it was great.
yep,
Um, Lois Lane, Rachel Brosnahan, perfect. The chemistry between her and Corn Sweat in the kitchen scene, fantastic. I mean, walking into the movie in media res and watching that, I totally believe that they've been in this relationship for months now.
right.
So I thought that was really really good. Who knew Jimmy was a player? I did not picture that out of my my Jimmy Olsen. The man can get it. I mean, good for him. Perry White, I think, was good in the limited amount that we've seen him. Hope to see him more as this universe expands. But overall, the
Right.
casting I thought was really good. Great set pieces. The kaiju fight I thought was fun. It was a fun way to introduce the Justice Gang. And I loved Superman and slash Clark's value of life. He didn't want to kill this thing. I mean, when he first came out of the box, I was like, oh, it's like a coked up Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. And I was like, oh, look how cute that thing is. And then he grows up overnight. And I love that he's like, don't kill it. Let's bring him to the zoo. And he has this value for life. I will agree with you. Crypto kind of got annoying to me. He was
Very
fine,
annoying.
but Crypto played
He was never helpful. He didn't play like he never until
well
the
at the
very
end
end.
until the end.
Yeah. Until the very end when Gunn was trying to swing the pendulum back in the other way, he's trying to get that heroic climax.
Yeah.
Crypto doesn't do a single fucking thing of use for anybody.
Yeah. I mean,
Like he's just annoying,
on one hand, that's my dog right now at home.
right?
He doesn't do anything useful. He's just this annoying chihuahua that's literally biting my ankles, but he's so cute.
But that's a chihuahua. Like that's kind of in their breed though. That's literally like a prerequisite. I think they hand you a pamphlet when you get a chihuahua that says like,
Untrainable.
please don't be alarmed. Please don't be alarmed at how untrainable this dog really is.
Right. But I mean, Crypto served the role of an animal in a movie not named Old Yeller in that he's the gag. He's the
Right.
comedic effect, right?
Right.
Every
Which I said,
animal in every movie serves that purpose. So
what did
I'm
I
not
say?
surprised.
What did I say months ago? What did I say months ago?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I knew that. I knew it from the first preview when they showed it, him jumping on Superman after being beat up. I knew he was going to be a gag, but that's the point of animals in a movie, so I'm not mad at it. He served
But
his
it's not
purpose.
because Crypto was in Titans and Crypto actually served a material purpose to the story and actually had achievements and feats. This Crypto was fucking useless. Like,
Distracted by digital
except
squirrels.
yeah, well, that I gave them a pass on that because they piped it into his brain.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I gave them a pass on that. But if it was just Crypto on a treadmill in front of a screen, I hope to God Crypto would be smart enough to figure out that what he's looking at isn't, yeah. So, okay,
And
cool. So what else did you like?
I
Anything else that
liked, yeah, I liked Nicholas Holt as Luther. I thought he was effective.
okay,
He, he Nicholas Holt, I think, is a great actor.
okay.
And from what I've read, he actually auditioned to be Superman, and then ended up
He
being like
did.
this is his
I
this
remember
is his
that.
life as an actor. Like he tries out for the main role and then gets like the secondary role.
It's like
But
Tom Hiddleston and Loki, right?
yeah,
He's tried it
yeah.
for Thor.
Yeah, but
Yep.
I thought he did a really good job. You kind of fault the movie for being Saturday morning cartoonish. I liked the movie because of that. I liked it that it was a big splash page on the screen. I thought that's why I liked how much I had fun at the movies. It wasn't taking itself too seriously. Um, there almost was kind of like a laugh per minute quota, I thought, but I for the most part I felt like the jokes landed. There were some jokes that were kind of Star Lordish. I think there was some Guardian hangover, like when
Yep.
Superman
He
beat up.
said, "Dude."
Yeah, that's
He
another thing I
said,
liked.
"Dude." Superman has never said "dude" ever in
Well, he also
anything.
said, "Gosh, golly, gee." So I
Well,
mean, it's really,
that too, but he also
yeah,
said super like that's gonna be that's what I like, when we talk about tone, that's gonna be a big part for me because like make up your fucking mind. Like what kind of movie are you making here, right?
yeah.
You've got him yelling at Lois Lane, losing his shit, which Superman doesn't do. He's a fucking stoic. He's calm, he's measured, he's he's a collected person, right? And then you have him yelling at Lois Lane, freaking out, and then you got him in another scene saying, "Gee, you know, whatever."
Gee
Like,
golly.
"Gee
And
golly," yeah, that's it.
and then the
You have
joke,
him saying that.
the one joke that was kind of cringy for me was when he beat up his clone, and Mr. Terrific's like, "Come on, man, we got important stuff to, or quit playing around. We got stuff to do." And he goes, "I'm doing important stuff," and then he like that felt very Star Lordish. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
that was a Star Lord joke. That was
That was a
totally a
Star
Star
Lord
Lord
joke.
joke.
Like if it was coming out of
Yeah,
Chris Pratt as Star Lord, would have been funny, but coming out of Superman
yeah,
was a little weird. Um,
very weird.
but
Superman doesn't talk this much. Like, this is the most he's ever talked, ever, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah. Go
So
ahead.
that's what I liked. That's what I liked. Overall, I liked it. I'll watch it again when it comes out on HBO Max, probably multiple times. It was
Okay.
just a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I wasn't offended,
Okay.
but I'm not a
So
filmmaker either. So
right. So let's get into the parts that I really took issue with, okay? Because I
sure.
want to get your thoughts on this too. So the first thing for me is that this was a structural mess. Like you could see where they pulled scenes out and where they needed to put it back together again. There was no linear timeline to the actual story. There were scenes where it was nighttime, like just instantaneously, and then back to a day scene, and that just was sort of par for the course throughout the entire film. Um, and there just wasn't any structural framework to this movie at all. I felt like we were jumping from scene to scene. It just felt like a really flawed movie. And then the other thing was the tone. The tone of this movie was goddamn all over the place. You know, like we've been talking about how campy and cartoonish it was, but Lex Luthor executed a guy after playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
Like, how can you have that and then do the other shit that you're doing in your movie? It like you either have life and death consequences or you don't, right?
Yeah.
Like you were saying that you really liked the movie because it was campy and cartoonish, right? And if they had kept that tone throughout the entire film, I would be with you. I would be like, you know what? They were consistent throughout the entire movie. Okay, I can watch this. It's colorful, it's bright, it's campy, it's cartoonish. They're leaning into the jokes. But then you have somebody get fucking executed. Like, that does not track for me. That doesn't make any sense. And somebody on Twitter said something to me like, "Oh, they had to show how ruthless he was." Are you telling me that's the only way they can show how ruthless Lex Luthor is? I don't think so. I don't think he needs to actually have a revolver in his hand and play Russian roulette with the fucking falafel guy. Like, what?
What did he do?
Like, what the fuck did he do? Because some guy, like, because he
Because
helped him up after the fucking kaiju fight?
yeah,
Like, or
I agree
after
with
the
you.
Baravia fight or whatever, the Heimer Baravia fight or whatever?
I will agree with you. That was whiplashing, that particular
Yeah,
sequence, because here's what didn't make sense to me in that. Okay, so that that shot, literally and figuratively, was the only overt act of violence in the entire movie. Right, the rest of it
right,
was Saturday morning cartoon violence, but
right,
that was reality violence, and it
right.
did jar me a little bit. I was like, it took me back. I was like, whoa, like we went there in this movie that I was not expecting. Um, and what was funny to me is when that happened, that was the instigating incident for Metamorpho to finally like man up. But it
Right.
wasn't his child being held captive for however many
No,
months
no.
being there. It was some
Yeah,
random falafel guy getting shot that made you go, you know what? I ought to do something about this.
yeah,
So that made no sense to me,
yeah,
because your child should hold more value. All, condolences to the falafel guy, but your
yeah.
child being held captive right across the aisle from you, taunting you, should be the thing that activates you, and
It should
now
be
you have
driving you mad, dude.
yeah.
It should be driving you mad.
And I get that you didn't have a way out, but now you have Superman next to you, and
Yeah.
now you have that. It shouldn't have been him shooting the falafel guy. So
The
I
falafel
get
guy.
that tonal shift there. I get that
Yeah.
part. That did not make sense to me. Um, I'm probably going to say this a lot, on this discussion, but that was a lot of dip on the chip for James Gunn, in
Yeah.
that moment. So that's and honestly for me, the whole pocket universe thing, we could have done without that whole CGI mess.
It was fucking absurd, dude.
Yeah,
It
you could have
was
had that.
absurd.
You could have had that more in a real world setting, like have you ever seen Stargate SG-1 at
No.
all? So like, or Stargate the movie, they have the Stargate in the
Yeah, I saw
Cheyenne Mountain
Stargate the movie. Yeah.
yeah, so they have the Stargate in the mountains in Cheyenne underground to
Right.
keep it secret,
Right.
and portals and all that. You could have had
Yeah.
something similar. He could have kept the portals, and then it just portals into someplace else on Earth,
Yeah.
and have the entire setup minus the monkeys, the entire
Yeah.
setup exactly like you had in the Pocket universe. But that was too much for me. I
y-
did not like that almost the entire third act because of it. I mean, I liked the fight sequences. I thought they were cool. But and if all that happened in a real world setting and not in some sort of pocket universe, I could have gone with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the pixelated river, too much.
Yeah,
The
that was
robot
fucking
monkeys,
stupid.
too much. I
And
mean,
then
that was
and then
dumb.
they had that one scene with Terrific where Terrific's like, that's a proton, a negative proton river or something, and if we
Yeah,
fall into it, we're done.
yeah.
And then you have a scene where Superman's swimming in it with a baby.
Sounds like
Like,
whitewater rafting down the thing.
what is going on here? Like, first of all, I trust Mr. Terrific to know what a negative proton river is going to do to a human being or a living being or whatever over, whatever Superman is said to him in a, said in his own head, like, oh, we'll survive this. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, there were so many fucking setups where somebody would say something and then they would do the complete opposite. Like, even with the Kryptonian robots in
Oh yeah,
the hall, right? Or sorry, in the Fortress of Solitude. Like, one of them says, like, we can't experience emotion, and then one of the robots experiences emotion.
yeah.
Like, what?
I don't know.
Like,
I
oh,
think that's supposed to be the jokey part of it is like we say this, oh, but we mean this, and yeah, and it just the last third of this movie and even the ending. So I feel like we're going backwards, but there were basically two endings of the movie. The ending where uh, Lois and Superman kiss and kind of fly up a little bit, fade to black, roll credits, perfect ending. But then we had to go one step further and do the whole watching the movie home movies of his Smallville parents, and then drunk Supergirl comes flying in to get her dog. Like, I
Yeah,
guess you had to have
let's
Supergirl
save
in
drunk
there.
Supergirl for last because I definitely want to get into that.
Yeah,
That's got holes in it too, bro, that we could drive a fucking Mack truck through.
but the
Um,
first ending was a perfect ending. Them flying up into the sun, kind of with the sun as the backdrop, they're kissing. Perfect, perfect. Would have been great to end it right there.
one sec, dude. My fucking stream, like I just got an alert that our stream says we're doing the Marvel thing.
Oh, oops.
What? I changed it. My fucking stream, like I just got an alert. I changed it. Says we're doing the Marvel thing. See?
Oh,
It's playing
oops.
back right now. What? I changed it.
That's weird.
What the hell? All right, hold on.
All right.
Just want to see if I can change it. I don't think I can change it. Oh well. So stupid. Oh well. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so um
So yeah, we started backwards. So let's back up a bit. Let's back up a bit.
yeah, so yeah, the tonal and structural issues were big for me. Were really big for me. The other tonal issue was with Superman. Like it would just well, you know what? Let's start with Superman a little bit because I want to get into how many times we had to see him get his ass kicked. Like that did not make any sense to me. That did not make any sense to me. The other part that didn't make sense to me was like this filmic multiverse that that had taken place off screen that had to be explained to us in the cold open.
Oh
Like
yeah. A lot of
that
reading.
whole yeah. Like what the fuck? Like you basically just told us like all this cool crazy shit happened and you're not going to show it to us. There's no flashback. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like there's this amazing thing that's happened off screen and we don't get to see any of it.
It's
That was kind of
very very
absurd to me.
very Star Wars scroll at the beginning,
Yeah.
where Star Wars episode 3 does that. It has the scroll of what's going on, and then we're in a ship with Darth Vader, and we don't see how we got there. We're just there. So
Right.
so I get it. I mean, if you want to skip the origin story of Superman and start at the beginning of his career as Superman, you got to do that. I think he could have done something maybe with the opening credits via flashbacks, like was it Watchmen? Watchmen had a really great opening credit scene, kind of explaining the whole origin of
Yeah.
Watchmen, the
Yeah.
movie, not the series, but the movie.
Yes.
And that was great. It gave you in
Great
three
credit
minutes.
scene.
Yeah,
Yes.
in 3 minutes gives you exactly what's going on and leads up
Yes.
to right where we start. So
Yeah.
I feel like because we all know the story of Superman. It's kind of like with Batman. I don't want to see another Batman origin story. I don't want to see pearls falling into the sewer grate anymore. So, but you could show that in opening credits and get people that don't know caught up. And a real quick during the opening credits 3 minute scene with the John Williams score in the background would have been really great. But yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
reading. Wasn't a fan of that, but you had to set it up. So there we go.
Yeah. No, yeah, if they had done it Watchmen style, and I don't know why they like if you have that kind of exposition that you need to do to start your movie, I think finding a better way to tell that story that you need to tell previous to your film or previous to the story of your film, you should just find a way to do it. Not have to just pump information onto the screen that way. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did you think about them opening the movie with Superman getting his ass kicked?
That you're in for a different Superman movie. I mean, I didn't mind it. It was
Right.
when we find out that he's getting beat up by essentially his equal, then okay, I understand that you're getting beat
True.
up. You're punching yourself
Right.
essentially. So I get that he was bleeding and everything, and this is a different Superman movie. This isn't. I think what I liked, because everybody's contrasting it with Snyder, which fair. I mean, it's recent. Everybody forgets about Singer's Superman though. When we talk, nobody's talking about that one. But what I liked about Gunn's Superman is that he made he concentrated on the man part of Superman, whereas Snyder concentrated on the super part of Superman. And what I think Gunn did is he's threading the needle of my Superman is 100% super and 100% man. And with him, like you're saying, he's stoic and everything, and he shouldn't be bothered by this whole social media mess.
You
It
shouldn't.
in James Gunn's world, I get that because he is human. He's been on Earth. He's human just like us in that sense emotionally. If you not prick him with a kryptonite blade, does he not bleed? So he sees negative comments about himself. He'll be bothered just like any other person would be bothered by seeing that
But he's a
much
journalist.
vitriol.
Sure. But he's a journalist, and he's also super intelligent. So super intelligent people don't get bothered with the opinions of people that they don't know. That's 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 part of being self-aware. Being part of self-aware is understanding that the opinions of people that don't know you, who don't have an informed opinion about you, shouldn't bother you, right? That's the reason the whole scene doesn't work for me, is because one, Superman or Superman's alter ego is Clark Kent. Clark Kent's a journalist. Journalists understand that there's this now mechanism out in the world that propagates across social media where they do this constantly. They use clickbait and they use click farms and they use brigading and they use all this shit. They know it's fake though, right? And the fact that they insisted on telling this story is because of James Gunn. If James Gunn wasn't directing this movie, this story doesn't get told, because James is just exercising his own trauma and his own experiences through the lens of Superman. That's what I was saying, that this is more of a James Gunn featuring Superman movie than a Superman film presented by James Gunn, because that completely overwhelms the entire tone of the film, right? And you get to that part where he's freaking out at Lois, and you say to yourself, wait a second, he knows what on the record means. And there's that part where he gets into a disagreement with Lois about what on the record means. He's a fucking journalist. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, he just in that moment forgot what a fucking journalist was, so it's convenient to hold water for that scene. That doesn't make any sense, man. Like, that was a big problem with the actual film, was that it just didn't want to play in the realm of common sense. Like, it didn't want to hold, like it was insulting to the audience's intelligence in so many ways. That's one scene. The other scene that I found insulting to my intelligence was the kaiju. You're telling me that you're going to evacuate the entire city when there's a dimensional rift coming, but you're not going to evacuate the entire city or the area around the kaiju? You're going to have everybody standing around with their fucking cell phones, and you're going to have people in the office buildings still working away? That's an insult to people's intelligence, because what I think James Gunn was trying to do with this film was to do as much as he possibly could to distance himself from the criticisms of Man of Steel and from the criticisms of BVS. The big criticism of Man of Steel is Superman didn't save anybody during the fight. Superman didn't move Zod to a more or less populated area for the fight. Superman, or Clark Kent, because it's not really a Superman movie, Clark Kent didn't move Zod away so they could lessen the collateral damage, right? And I think James Gunn was like, how do I fix this? Oh, I know. I'll just put 300 people around a kaiju as Superman and the kaiju were fighting. And they did the same thing in that fucking office building that got burnt out by the fire breath. Why are those people still there? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, that was why I was having so much trouble reconciling myself with this movie. And it got more offensive when the whole execution thing happened, because up to this point, I'm like, okay, it's cartoonish, it's campy, it's all intentional. Gunn is trolling everybody. This is hilarious. This is funny. And then boom, he executes a fucking falafel guy playing Russian roulette. And I'm like, okay, dude, make up your mind. Are we doing life and death consequences that are grounded and gritty, like the Superman scene where you have him yelling at Lois? That's grounded. That that's somewhat, a little bit a darker tone to it. Like, what are we doing here? Like the movie couldn't make up its own mind about what it wanted to be. That was the thing that I kept coming back to after seeing it, was just like it doesn't know what it wants to be. And it was just all over the place, right? But I'm kind of like skipping ahead, but I'm gonna let you react to some of the things I said, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
So the opening argument with him when Lois is interviewing Clark as Superman,
Yeah.
and then it ensues and escalates and becomes a kind of an argument. I have a different take on that one. I f- I looked at that as an argument between a couple, right?
Okay.
It started out as like a straight up interview, but then when their viewpoints started to diverge, he I felt like Clark was hurt that Lois couldn't see it from his perspective. Like, you're my girlfriend. Why aren't you supporting me in this in
That's a
doing
fair
this?
point.
So I looked at that as it's as an emotional argument between lovers, between a girlfriend and a boyfriend of, why can't you see my point of view? Why can't you see my side of things? Why are you being antagonistic to me about this? And that's how I viewed it. So for when you say he should be above that and be no one's above an argument with your spouse, man. You're gonna have an argument with your spouse. You're gonna have disagreements, and then you come back
But
to it
wait a
later.
second. Hold
And
on, hold on. I didn't say he should be above the argument with Lois. I said he should be above the grievance, the insults from people he doesn't know. That's what I said.
oh yeah,
I didn't say he
well
should be above the argument with Lois,
yeah,
right?
or
But finish your thought. Sorry.
yeah. So I mean, so I get why he was yelling at Lois because I mean I found myself in those situations. If you're dating somebody, you're gonna be I identified with that. And I think what Gunn was trying to do is make a Superman that was relatable, right? And we all get our feelings hurt over social media sometimes, for better or for worse, as content creators, don't there's a reason why they say don't read the comments because you just don't want to put yourself through that. So it's that relatability that I think Gunn was trying to do, and especially as a reaction
But
to
but Rich, it's manufactured because of his experience, his life experience. It's been
sure.
manufactured and overlaid onto a character that I just don't feel like it would have the same effect on. That's what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, he's
I
writing
agree with
himself.
you.
He's writing
Yes,
himself.
he's writing himself. Exactly. I think, and honestly, I think that if any writer tries to write himself over Superman, I wonder about I wonder about the ego of that writer, because because that's a pretty big hill to climb, right? You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying about the couples thing. I think that's the most intelligent counter argument I've ever had to my grievance with this particular scene, because that's another way of looking at it. That's another perspective. It's not the direct perspective of the journalist and Superman. And yes, I don't think he should yell as Superman, but the way that you reframed it, I can see that happening. I can see that happening. Superman has always had this weakness with Lois. He loses his shit if something happens to Lois, and we've seen it in the past. He kills the Joker out of hand, like without a hesitation,
Yeah.
because he kills Lois Lane, right? And even in the DCEU, Lois Lane was supposed to be the linchpin that keeps Superman together from going to the dark side, from submitting to the anti-life equation. It was supposed to be Lois Lane. That's why, Ezra Miller jumps into the Batcave through that time portal. He's like, she's the key. She's the key. It's always been, you've always been right about him, right? It's about Lois. So I agree with everything you're saying there. Like, I think that's the best point that anybody can make to counter what I'm saying. But finish the rest of your thought, because I want to continue into this.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, the relatability of why. So, Gunn was leaning heavily on the man of Superman. And as far as like James Gunn is Superman in this movie. So you are right
Yes,
about
he
that.
is. And that's the problem.
James Gunn is Superman in this movie. But I still feel like Corn Sweat made it his own. He is a believable Superman.
He
Um,
is.
there was a lot of flack about him in the suit didn't fill it out quite as much as Cavill,
But
but
but the
it was
suit
fine.
but the suit undermined how much of a Superman he is. If you put him in the Man of Steel suit or you put him in Hawkland's suit, I think he's a way better Superman. I'm sorry. But yeah, a change of clothes and I accept this Superman a lot more than I do now.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the reason why I like this Superman is this was a Superman I could kind of latch onto a little bit as a person.
Right. Right.
Like he's a fun hang, right? He's a in his world, he's got a perspective on things, and he'd be a fun hang. Henry Cavill, as a person, would be a really fun hang, but as his Superman was not a fun hang. What when we talked about writing
Disagree.
yourself into
Disagree. But go ahead.
when we're talking about writing yourself into Superman, I mean, Snyder kind of he grew up as a Christian Scientist. He's an objectivist, right? So
Right.
his thing is that the individual is more pure than the collective, and that's how he wrote his Superman, right? His super up down to the part where he saved the kids on the bus, and Pa Kent was like, "What am I supposed to do? Should I let them die? Maybe." It's that
Wait,
kind.
wait, wait, wait. So no, hold on, hold on. I'm not gonna let you get away with that mischaracterization. I've been fighting this shit all fucking week. Listen, that maybe was said sarcastically, like in the way that Kevin Costner would in Yellowstone. Like literally, like I don't know, maybe like he was struggling for the right answer,
Yeah,
right? Because he is struggling for the right answer because he doesn't know the right answer, right? The one thing that I think, and I'm only going to touch on this really quick, and we'll get right back to Superman. But the one thing that people forget about the way that David Goyer wrote Man of Steel is that it's this giant it's this giant metaphor for Jewish existence during the 30 like pre World War II up to World War II Europe, right? That's what Clark represents. Clark having powers is Clark being Jewish. And Jonathan Kent's paranoia about that is Jonathan Kent being a Jewish father trying to figure out how he's going to keep his kids safe, right? That's that's the whole thing. And yeah, you know what? There should have been a lot more interviews where David Goyer explained this to people, but that is what it is, right? So it's a little bit more complex than just oh yeah, maybe. Like, you know what I mean? So but anyways, I'm digressing. Let's get back to what you were saying. Go ahead.
yeah. So the way Snyder wrote his Pa Kent was that Clark had to make this choice for himself. So he tells his son to be an objectivist. Don't feel beholden to helping others unless it makes you happy. Even Ma Kent was like, you owe them nothing, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Gun Superman has to do the right thing. He is compelled to do the right thing at all times. It's ingrained in his being, and I think that's what people have enjoyed about this Superman is that he is the big blue Boy Scout, and that he is the ideal of what we feel like superheroes should be. And
But
then
his
with
perform but here's the thing. There's a certain degree there's a certain degree where that works, and then there's a threshold where it's too much, where it's performative and it's over exaggerated, right? And that's where we got to performative and over exaggerated when he was saving the squirrels and they were literally evacuating Metropolis so they could hold on to this narrative that only Superman's only going to save lives in this movie. Nobody's going to die. We're going to have an evacuation in 15 minutes. We're going to get all the buses together and all the people that we need in Metropolis together to evacuate the city. That is fucking impossible. And they did that because they don't want any life to be taken in this film. I think that was like Gunn's goal. He's like, listen, I've heard how many people complain about how many fucking people died in Man of Steel and in BVS. I'm not doing that. I'm saving everybody. I don't care if it makes sense or not. And I swear to God, I think It was absurd, dude. It was absurd. But sorry, you were saying, go ahead.
So I'm thinking like, all the Supermen in our modern times, starting with Singer, then
Yep.
Snyder, then
Yep.
Whedon, then Gunn, right? They were
Yep.
all products of their time. So you had Singer Superman, what, in 2006 ish, whatever.
Yep. Yep.
That relied, I think, too much on nostalgia and kind of the blueprint of the Donner films, and didn't really give that Superman like a contemporary voice then. And
Right.
then you had Snyder Superman come around. That was basically a reaction to that portrayal, and gave us kind of this like high testosterone, barely emotional kind of glum of a Superman that was weirdly like, I don't care about people. And then Whedon, he was just
Do you
trying to
think that's
fix.
fair though? Wait, wait, wait. Take a beat, dude. You think that's
Yeah,
fair? He didn't care about people.
I
He
mean
saved he saved he saved every sentient being on the planet.
that comes back to like what we were talking about as him being this objection. He did that because it made
No, no, no,
him
no, no.
it
Dude,
made him happy. It made him what, but he didn't do that out of like, I don't know. I'm just saying that that was the
he
overall
put
theme of this glum kind of
dude,
Superman.
no, he was not listen. Okay. The Man of Steel Superman and the BVS Superman are not glum, they're not dark. They're grounded and they're mythic. It's it's more of a mythology than it is a cartoon or a campy version of the character, right? And I think one of the things that's gone horribly wrong in the life cycle of Superman on screen is that we try and make these relative comparisons, right? We try and make these relative comparisons, but we don't take the time to ask us of whether the comparison that we're making was performative and over exaggerated in that cartoonish way. Because Donner's was cartoonish as fuck, right? I would say that Brandon Rouse, little bit more grounded, little bit, like to a degree, a little bit more grounded, right?
Mhm.
Tyler Hoechlin, little bit more grounded, right? But then we get to Snyder's Superman, and I think it gets to a point where he just has a certain story he wants to tell through a certain lens, and it just gets more mythic and more grounded. And literally, I think Chris Nolan and Zack Snyder and David Goyer sat down and they were like, what would Superman look like in our world if he existed? Right. And I think this is exactly like I think MOS and BVS are exactly what it would look like. And the other thing is we don't talk about enough is MOS isn't a Superman movie. It's a Clark Kent movie because nobody calls him Superman until like literally the last fucking 10 minutes of the film. Like the epilogue. Like there's no reference to him as Superman. Like and then the other thing other people that people forget is that MOS is without a doubt the hero's journey, and nobody's done the hero's journey for Superman. Schuster and Siegel didn't even do a hero's journey for Superman, but they did it. But there's a lot of subtext. There's a lot of subtext as to why they didn't do a hero's journey for Superman, because Superman's one of the few heroes that doesn't have a comic book hero's journey, right? And the reason they don't have that is because Schuster and Siegel needed that motherfucker then, and like no delay. Like, dude, we need you now. Like, we're being persecuted by the Nazis now. We need you now, right? And that's why he doesn't have a hero's journey. So the fact that Goyer went back and gave him a hero's journey, it's again, it's really complicated. But like as I was saying, I just think that we try and see this character through this relative lens, and if it's and if the gap between this Superman is this wide, then he's dark and mythic. Like dark dark is what we use to describe Daredevil, Moon Knight, and and Wolverine, right?
Mhm.
I was going to say the Punisher, but the Punisher is the extreme, right? But dark is what we used to like dark is what we used to describe Daredevil, Moon Knight, and Wolverine. And I don't think we've ever gotten to that point with Superman. So we got to make up our mind. If we're going to use dark to describe Wolverine and Daredevil, we got to find another word for Superman in MOS. We just have to, right?
Yeah, I mean Goyer and Snyder. wrote their Superman to be a god, right? To be a god in their movie. Whereas Gunn likes weirdos. Gunn is a big fan of outcasts. I mean, even from his early days of Trauma, he's a big fan of outcasts, and he's a big fan of finding belonging. Even in Creature Commandos, where Weasel was ostracized because he wanted to play with kids and everybody thought he was killing the kids, and
Right.
he made that character human in a sense. So
Right.
Gunn is writing what he knows. He likes weirdos, he likes the outcast, he likes belonging, and he wants people to treat people like how you would want to be treated. And that's
Yeah.
that's a big theme in this movie. And because Goyer Snyder wrote their Superman like a god, that was something that people couldn't like latch onto, right? It was a good movie. I'm not knocking Snyder. I rewatched it after watching this Superman just to kind of
Right.
compare the two, and I liked it. I mean, it's a great piece of art, a great piece of movie making. The action sequences are good. I like Jor-El. I liked all of that. I like the Snyder movies. This is just different, right? Snyder is neither. I don't think either one of these movies are better than the other. They're just different taste for different people. Um,
I
I
agree. I
I
agree with
like
that.
I like the relatable. That's kind of why I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy, because
Right.
you know Stan Lee made his heroes with a flaw. So everybody's got a monkey's paw in their power set that makes them relatable to your everyday reader. Whereas DC made their superheroes gods. I mean, even this first phase of DCU is gods and monsters, right? So
But bro, Superman dies in BVS. Like you literally see him in a casket.
and then he's risen again.
That completely undermines your argument.
But he
Like
but he's risen again
he
3 days later.
sure, sure. Okay,
Very
fair.
godlike.
But
Very godlike.
fair. Okay, but no wait. No. Hold on a second.
I mean, I don't know if it was three
He
days later, but
he's he's resurrected through the actions of somebody else, not through his own.
right.
Not through his own, right?
Yeah.
And if it's a god, the god doesn't need a human to help. Like the god doesn't need somebody else to help him. The god just resurrects, right?
Yeah.
So no. Listen, I won't completely dismiss the god comparison because I would be an idiot too. Because there's so much religious symbolism
Oh, sure.
in
Yeah.
in Snyder's work that it sometimes can be overwhelming.
Well, the
But
Superman
the
story
other
in
thing,
general has a lot of religious overtones.
100%. Totally
Yeah.
agree. The word El in Hebrew means God. Like Kal
Mhm.
El, like the word El means God in Hebrew. So yes, there's definitely a religious connection between these characters. Um, but listen, man, we're talking and like we just got off Superman entirely. So let's get back to this movie because like I want to finish talking about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Um,
It's
we
hard not to make the
we sh-
comparison though.
we should do another episode where we just go ham on Superman because like there's just not a lot of talk like there's not enough nuanced conversations happening about the different versions of this character, especially on screen. Like I see a lot of people invoking the dark stuff when they talk about Snyder, but they're not really being honest about it. They're not really giving it the same gravitas that's actually on screen. Like I see a lot of misrepresentation about it. But yeah, anyways, so where were we as far as Superman
Man, I don't know.
2025 goes?
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
where we were.
All right, we talked about the scene with Lois. Oh, okay. My journalist point. My journalist point. So you were saying that it felt more like an argument between a couple, which I think has some validity to it, right? But what did you think? Because I think I kind of railed on this a little bit, but I said the fact that he was he wasn't certain that he was on the record being a journalist himself. You got to admit that was kind of fucking stupid.
I mean, I think it was played for laughs, but it just kind of flew by me. I didn't
Okay,
latch onto that. The part that I thought was funny is when she paused it and says, "How do you think you're doing?" Well, I think I'm doing pretty good. That was pretty funny.
that was
In,
pretty funny.
in that scene. But yeah, the whole on the record off. I think that was just played for laughs, and it just went just zoomed right by me. So I didn't latch onto that one at all.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, what did you think about what I said about the whole kaiju scene where they didn't like you had
Evacuate
people in the
anybody?
buildings? Yeah, like what the fuck?
I kind of feel like okay, so they did the whole crawl at the beginning, like metahumans have been around for however many years. So I almost feel
Yes.
like this is a
Are you
Tuesday
about to
for
excuse this?
what?
Are you about to
Metahumans?
excuse this? No, no, no. Are you about to excuse the fact that they had 300 people standing around a kaiju taking photos?
Well, it's kind of like when when there's flash flooding happening here. There's a hurricane
Bro,
here in Florida, and people are having
stop.
hurricane parties and and stuff
Stop.
like that. I've had hurricane parties in Savannah when I used to live in Georgia.
It's a
So
400
I
foot
mean, I'm just
kaiju,
saying
bro.
it's
It's a
it's a
400-foot kaiju
it's a
that's been
Tuesday.
demonstrating it can breathe fire,
Yeah.
right? Like, listen, let's be honest about the stuff that's in this movie, okay? You can still love it, man. I don't give a shit, right? Like, it doesn't really color my opinion of you in any way. But let's be honest, like, it's a 400-foot kaiju that's demonstrated it can breathe fire, and people are standing around. People run away when they hear gunshots,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Yeah, the breathing fire in the building, I was kinda like, and I even kinda elbowed my wife. I'm like, "Why are these people standing there? Why are they still in the building?" So, like, go, run, do something. At least get a block away or something like that.
Right.
And
So we
but
can admit so you can admit that this film was a little bit contrived, like blocked in a way that helped construct these scenes. These sort
yeah,
of rescue scenes and moments and all this shit, right?
but I am gonna admit that there would be people hanging around and taking I mean, that's the world we live in 2025.
But not
There's gonna
but
be
not a
people with their cell
crowd, but
phones
not a
out.
crowd, not a crowd like that. Not a crowd like that.
Maybe not that big, sure, but you're gonna have some
Okay.
idiots out there with the phone recording something instead of helping people. That happens every day. People run from gunshots. Other people pull their phones out instead of yanking somebody off the street. So it's that happens. Would it be
Okay,
this many
I'll
people?
meet you in the middle.
Probably,
Okay, I'll meet you in the
probably
middle
not.
on that.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool. Um I said that I felt that the camera work was a little bit manipulative. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Cutting to kids. There was a lot of kids. I mean, there
Yeah,
was a lot of kids,
a
which
lot
I
of
guess it's a
kids.
family film. You want to
Yeah.
have kids in there, and I mean it was fine. I didn't feel manipulated personally. um
It
you
was
know
like it was like wrestling though. You know how like the good guy gets the pop like,
yeah, yeah,
at the end of the match? That's what it
yeah,
felt like. It was like he was just trying to get the pop for Superman.
yeah.
And it yeah, it just leaned into that cartoonish and campy vibe, you know?
I think for that vibe it worked though, because where do they get their inspiration from? Like Superman, a Man of All Seasons, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow,
All-Star
All Star
Superman.
Superman. So
Yeah,
I think it fit that vibe. I didn't feel manipulated. Kids are great. Yeah,
right.
it was fine. I wasn't offended by it.
Right. Okay. Let's see. What else did I take issue with?
The kid with the flag,
Um,
though, that sent me chills. The kid that was hoisting the flag
yeah, that
up,
was a great scene.
like
Great
Iwo
scene.
Jima, that was
Great
great.
scene. Great scene.
Good use of kid.
The only problem with that was they were juxtaposing with what was happening back in Metropolis,
Yeah.
and that was just absurd to me. Like that whole diatribe that Superman goes on about being a human, it's like, sure, dude. Okay. What? Like I actually laughed out loud at how ridiculous that scene was. Same with Lex. As soon as Lex started talking about envy, I was there was a couple people in the theater laughing out loud. I was laughing out loud because it just did not hit me at all. It just didn't really get to me at all. Actually, that's something we haven't talked about yet. We haven't talked about Lex at all. Let's talk about Lex.
All right.
Um, I'm sorry, but I've been seeing comparisons on Twitter. People were like with that, that fucking arrow symbol. It's about, enough time has passed. This Lex Luthor is better than this Lex Luthor, and it's
Mm.
Jesse,
Oh, yeah, the
right?
greater than symbol. Okay, yeah.
The greater than symbol. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go with the guy that almost got Batman to kill Superman over the guy that had his evil scheme spoiled by his girlfriend taking selfies.
That was
Sorry, dude.
yeah, I'll give you that one. Like Eve Tessmacher canonically in some comic books was like Lex's number 2. Like she was
Yeah.
just as smart, just as conniving, and they
Yep.
made her to be like this. Made her to be like this bimbo, and I don't know if that
Yeah.
was part of the act for her to be able to get away with taking selfies of
Yeah.
all these like documents and stuff. If so, great. But I didn't like the portrayal of Eve Tessmacher being this like desperate person to get with Jimmy, especially, seeing her in other projects as being just as capable um as Lex. So I didn't like that as much. Lex as a character, I still think Gene Hackman is probably the better Lex, especially like when the office bursting scene in this Superman 2025, he burst through the door. Gene Hackman's reaction to that when Superman did the same thing in '78 was like, "And you're going to get a bill from my lawyers for the door. Thank you." Yeah, it was like it's hilarious, and he's just so aloof. He's about Superman, like he knows he's smarter than Superman, and that his brain will always beat his brawn, and he
Yeah.
just knows that. Lex was angry. Like he's an angry dude.
He's a petty
Jealous.
man baby.
He
He's a
he's
petty man baby.
yeah, he's jealous of a man because if he had those powers, he would not be doing the things that he would be doing would not be what Superman was doing. He would take over the world. And the fact that Superman isn't doing that and is what makes him so angry. And he has a cult of followers that have that same thinking. But I thought Nicholas Holt still did a pretty good job. Not my favorite portrayal of Lex, but it was fine. I think it still fit the tone of the movie. As you know, the monologue, the monologuing is right up there with Saturday morning cartoons of here's what I'm going to do to take over the world. And but, I mean, it was okay. Gene Hackman's still good. Jesse Eisenberg played this kind of like manic Lex, which was pretty cool. But Jesse
Yeah.
Eisenberg just kind of plays manic in most of his roles anyway. So he just brings that to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I liked Eisenberg's Lex a little bit better than Holt's.
Yeah. This Lex was like a petty man baby. And I'm sorry, but I want Lex to be formidable. I want Lex to be intimidating. I want Lex to be the intellectual like peak. I want him to be the top of the intellectual food chain. And I don't see him that way when I see him locking up his girlfriends in a fucking pocket dimension,
Yeah,
for sending selfies to other guys. Like that doesn't reflect back to me that he's a smart, intelligent person. It reflects back to me that he's a petty man baby and that he got his feelings hurt and he needed to lash out at people.
and since
And I
when does
don't
Lex need the permission of the government to take action against Superman? You know what I'm
that's
saying?
another thing. Yeah, that's another thing. He was a cuck. Not only was he a cuck for Tessmacher, but he's a cuck because he just bowed to the government. Like he was not. Yeah, he was just ineffectual. He was impotent. That's it. He was impotent and ineffectual. I really did not like this Lex Luthor at all. Nicholas did a job Nicholas did the job that he was given with the script that he was given. There's nothing wrong with Nicholas's performance. It's just the wrong version of the character.
It was kind of one
Like
dimensional. He was a one
very one
dimensional Lex.
dimensional.
He was a one dimensional
Very
Lex.
one dimensional. There was no depth to him at all. Like that scene where he knocks the pencils back onto the ground so his employees can pick them up again.
Yeah,
Like that's just so petty.
yeah.
That's just so fucking petty. Like there was nothing that he did where I was like, you know what? This guy's this guy's got something, you know? But with like Jesse's guy, I was like, yeah, this guy's fucking got something. He's got literally everybody running around, or he's got everybody standing still where he's playing five-dimensional chess. Like that's interesting to me. This Lex was not interesting to me. And for some reason, people are just going gaga over this fucking version of Lex. I don't get it.
I mean,
I don't get it at
it was
all.
fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it.
Right.
He was the mustache twirling villain that you need in a movie like this, and really nothing more, right?
Yeah.
All the way down to like tying the girl to the train track kind of feeling. That's
That's exactly what it was.
that's the kind
That's
of villain he
exactly what it
was in
was.
this movie. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, elephant in the room. What did you think about the retcon to Superman's biological Kryptonian parents.
Well, first I thought Bradley Cooper was a good bit of stunt casting. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I didn't. I kind of walked out of the theater going, "Did they really do that? Did Superman's parents really tell him to like take over the world and get you a harem? That's nuts to me." I
Yeah.
especially with the last two. The one constant in all the Superman movies was that Superman's parents were noble. They were normal, no noble, not normal, noble, and they say
Right.
go to Earth and be the savior to these people essentially. And
Yeah.
here they're like, just get you some women, man, just get you some women, procreate, take over, and but I
Take
did
over
walk,
everybody. Yeah.
yeah, take over everything. But at the end, I was kind of like, who would be in his harem? And then I started kind of running the numbers, but I didn't like it. They could have easily played that, especially if they wanted to keep it with this whole social media 2025 being kind of the real big bad in this movie. Is you deep fake it, and they could have that Lex could have easily deep fake that and fooled everybody and come out at the end that it was fake, but now it's real, and everybody's going to have kind of that back of their head thought of what Superman really came to Earth for,
Right.
even though he redeemed himself there at the end. But I don't know, maybe that'll come into play later in future movies, who knows? But I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of that twist of Jor-El.
Neither was I. No, like here's the thing, and this is my main that like this is probably the umbrella issue I have with this entire film. James Gunn didn't break the story on Superman. He broke somebody else's to tell his story of Superman. That's the problem with it, right? If he didn't if he didn't retcon Jor-El, if he didn't retcon Jor-El and Lara, he doesn't have a story to tell. Like he doesn't have a character arc for Superman because that's the entire character arc is him trying to like after he learns this and the world is against him even more than they were before. Well, the fake people, the fucking monkeys or whatever, but the world's now really against him because of this piece of information. If that if that doesn't happen, there is no story. James Gunn doesn't have a story. He doesn't have a character arc for Superman. So he had to break somebody else's story to tell his story. And that signals to me that he was just the wrong guy for Superman. Like that signals to me he was the wrong guy for Superman. Not only did he have to do that, but he had to overcrowd the movie too. And he had to chew up scenery with a whole bunch of different people. And weirdly too, Lois isn't even like Lois isn't doesn't end up being the hero that she has been in past films.
Yeah.
It's Jimmy. It's
Yeah.
Jimmy that comes to the rescue,
And it's
right?
Jimmy that figures out what's really going on, and Lois is just dictating it.
Right, exactly. That too. That's another thing. So I just generally don't think that James Gunn was the right guy for Superman. I love James Gunn. I love his work, but I think he's proven that he's just not the right guy for Superman. I don't want him to do Superman 2. I really don't. Like I really really don't. I don't know what's going to change there, but I really don't. And then the other layer of this is, are you telling me that Superman doesn't have some sort of failsafe on his computer that protects all of his shit from people when they break in,
From
or an
clones.
alarm, or an
From
alarm that goes off?
there's not like a clone detector.
No, 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 no. I'm not being that nitpicky. I'm not saying that he needed a clone detector. I'm saying that there should be some sort of system that signals when he's not in there that somebody else has just entered the Fortress of Solitude,
Oh,
right?
right. Okay. So when Lex walked
Right?
in and the engineer walked
Yeah.
in, yeah,
Yeah,
it sh- it
exactly.
it shouldn't have been the robots that turned around and figured out, wait, you're not Clark, you're not Kal El.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And then the other thing is, are you telling me that he doesn't have any like fail safe on his computer to protect the valuable information he has on it?
Well,
There's no
that's kind of the
password protection.
well, that's kind of the power of the engineer, right? She's a technopath, so she could get through all that. That's like
Yeah,
her thing.
yeah, okay, that's fair, but there's got yeah, I guess so.
I
All
mean,
right,
we're
that's
setting
fair.
up for an authority movie, right? She's part of the authority
Right,
in DC, Rob
right.
Stewart Comics. Everybody. So
Right.
so I believe that that she was able to get past all that with her abilities. What I couldn't get past though was her doing that backflip halfway through and then like she reforms and I'm just like just turn
That was
around.
cool.
Just turn
That was
around.
cool.
That
No,
was
I like
stupid.
that.
That was
No, I
dumb. I'm
like
like
that.
just turn around. What are you
No, you're
doing? That's
wrong.
wasted movement.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're just fucking wrong.
That's
That was
that's
cool.
that's just a waste of movement, man. I'm all about
No.
efficiency of movement. Just like turn around. But speaking of the fight scene though, the fight scene in the ballpark was pretty cool with Ultraman and Superman and the engineer. That was pretty neat. Oh, I lost you. I'm not hearing anything you're saying.
Sorry, I muted myself.
Ah,
That one scene where Superman was spinning around and you had the engineer by the arm and they were spinning.
oh
That
yeah.
looked awful.
Yeah,
Like
the
that, the
big
special
CG.
effects on that looked fucking bad, dude.
Yeah,
Bad.
CG looked rough in spots for sure. I mean, you
Yeah,
know, we have an overworked special effects team all around in Hollywood. Props to them.
absolutely. Sorry, one sec.
All right.
Yeah, the other thing, the other thing I couldn't square was how was somebody letting Eve Tessmacher take fucking photos around all this sensitive information? Like, I'm pretty sure in a government building, you got to turn your phone over before you enter meetings of this nature, right? You can't
Yeah.
even go to a Dave Chappelle show without putting your phone in a yonder bag, right? Like
Yeah.
how is she getting these photos? And she's also got selfies of documents. How do you do that? Do you lean over the
Uh,
desk like this?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's
Like, god damn.
Eve Tessmacher was played to be like wallpaper. Like nobody notices her, nobody pays attention to her. She's just a bimbo. Nobody takes her seriously. So she's just taking these weird selfies by this map that says that Luther's plan is going to take over half of Jerovia or whatever, and
Right.
call it his own. And nobody thinks she's going to do anything with it because she's just this dumb blonde woman that's just being stupid.
Yeah, but
That's the only way I can square it
yeah,
is
but
that
my
nobody
point
takes her
is, dude.
seriously.
Yeah, but my point is this. If you were in that meeting and you saw this girl taking selfies, wouldn't you fucking say something?
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, no pictures. At the
Yeah,
very least.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that really didn't make a ton of sense at all. Um, what do you think about the whole conversation around the whole peop people are people are inflating this into the Israel Palestine thing pretty quickly and
It's hard not to read current events into a movie. This movie was written, you know, before all that, but
yeah,
obviously all these current events are happening in real time, and you
yeah,
know, it's it. People are gonna do transference, you know, and read their current events and their lives into the movie, and I don't blame them. It's if that you know helps them cope with things, then okay. But you know,
yeah.
I'm not. I don't have that lived experience, so I can't fault them for that. But yeah, it's hard to ignore. I mean, it's one invader or one country invading another. You could easily put the Russian Ukrainian conflict in that shoebox too, and have that there. So it's yeah, yeah. I get why people do it. It's the world we live in now.
Yeah. Yeah, true, true.
One
So
thing that did kind
after
of oh sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing that kind of disappointed me that I was hoping to see. I get that Rick Flag Sr. is the head of Argus now, you know, based
Yep.
on all the events of Peacemaker and everything. But man, Amanda Waller in that room would have been epic. Like her like talking to Lex and with her seriousness and gravitas, I would have loved to have seen Viola Davis's Amanda Waller in that room with all the generals and stuff. That it would have been a different scene. I feel like it was a
That would have
missed
been cool.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that would have been another body in the movie. So,
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So, we didn't talk about the Ultraman scene, which was weird and really disappointing. the way it was shot, the camera work, it very hard to follow. I literally thought people that suffered from epilepsy would probably fucking lose it on that scene. But it was kind of chaotic.
Oh, the
But the
third
one
act fight
scene,
scene in the black hole
yeah,
and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
well, that, yeah, like, and again, there's another guy dying in a Superman movie, and nobody gives two shits about it because it's not Zack Snyder. So, um, but the other thing I took real issue with was that the scene against the Raptors in the sky,
Yeah.
right? He spins like a top, firing his heat vision indiscriminately. Nobody gets hit in the face. Nobody takes one through an artery. And they're 400 feet above the ground, probably 300, 400 feet above the ground. Everybody falls to the ground, and they cut to the shot of them on the ground, and everybody's still alive. That's ridiculous. Again, that
Well,
doesn't
this
make any sense to me.
here's how I squared it in my head, right? The suits are modeled after Lex's war suit, right? So they were
You don't know
made
that,
they
but go ahead,
well,
sure.
I mean, they're modeled after Lex's war suits from what comic inspired that one? I don't remember. But I think the premise was that they were modeled after Lex's war suits so they could take that hit and they can take that fall and then survive, I guess. So that's the only way I was able to kind of square it away. Otherwise, it's Saturday morning cartoons. It's the Saturday morning cartoon. There's a new episode next week.
Right,
It's just one of those
right.
things.
But okay, so then your agreement with me about the tonal stuff in the film.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it
Okay.
was some of that was it was pretty coherent for me up until the shot to the falafel guy's head. And then I was
Okay.
like, what are we watching? What just happened? And then that's when it shifted for me. But I felt overall it kept that Saturday morning cartoon vibe all the way throughout. The kind of cheesy dialogue, the kaiju fight, especially with the poking in the eye thing, that was pretty funny. The kaiju fight, because in cartoons, there's a kaiju fight and nobody's evacuating the city there either. So it's kind of just that Saturday morning cartoon thing all the way throughout. And then we get that overt act of violence. And then I was like, why did that happen? Why did we have an execution in my Saturday morning cartoon? And then the whole last third act of the CGI fight in the pocket dimension, it was too much dip on the chip. And I was
Right.
kind of out at that point.
Right.
Black hole, blowing into the black hole to fly out. Okay, it's a black hole, dude. You're not escaping it. Superman can't escape a black hole, but I
Yeah,
guess
he
his super
can't.
breath can.
Well, no, I can't because it doesn't have anything solid to hit. So he's just blowing in empty space. So I don't know how that would help. But
Yeah,
anyways, but yeah, no, like that particular scene because those guys get hit and then you see like either mist or something come off them, like it's blood.
hmm
Like I don't know if you recall that, but when they hit the ground, they've got tire track sized holes in their armor,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But it didn't go through the skin. Like nobody died. That's my point. Is James Gunn wanted to show scenes where people could die but wouldn't die because of cartoon Saturday morning cartoon logic. Like that was the whole thing that was insulating this film from start to finish. But then, like you said, schizophrenically, it would have this execution scene. It would have Superman yelling at Lois. Like it didn't know. Oh yeah, and then he yells at Luthor about the dog and all that, and it just changes the tone of the film completely. And you're just kind of like whiplashing back and forth, trying to find an equilibrium to finish watching this movie. Like that was the big issue for me. And then the other thing, dude, that climax, Mr. Terrific just basically like zipped the universe back together like a winter coat.
yeah, yeah. He hacked the rift and fixed it. Yay!
Yeah. But like it was like that's how easy it was for him was to zip it together like a winter coat.
Yeah,
And
I
again,
kind of
it doesn't
equated that. I kind of equated that as Superman flying backwards around the world to make time go back. It's that.
it's no, I don't think so. I don't think it's that at all, but anyways. Um any more thoughts on Superman?
Uh
Oh, Supergirl. Let's talk about Supergirl before
oh,
we go.
Supergirl. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could have done without that. I mean,
yeah.
it's
Well,
canon. She has been drunk in the comics. I mean, the source that they're taking it from is she was
Woman
drunk.
of Tomorrow, yeah,
Woman of Tomorrow.
yeah,
She was kind of on a bender. So
yeah. But here's the thing about that though. Clark literally, like, sorry, Superman literally does an exposition dump about how they can't get drunk on
yeah,
Earth,
at the end, yeah,
and then she shows up drunk on Earth.
yeah. Maybe she flew home drunk on the dark side of the moon. Didn't quite get enough sun coming in.
That
I mean, I don't know.
that's not realistic. That's not realistic. That's just poor writing again. Like that's the problem throughout this entire fucking film is that it just wasn't well written. Like there's so many logic gaps, there's so many tonal shifts, there's no structure to it, there's no flow to it. The only character that I felt was like on point was Lois. Lois, Mr. Terrific, and Guy Gardner. That's it.
Guy
Everybody else was
Gardner,
just
yeah, Guy Gardner's got me excited for the Lantern show.
yeah, it
I
should
mean, I
be
was still
good.
excited about the Lantern show, but now that I know he's going to be on it, I don't know if it's going to be like a cameo or if he's going to be a regular or a regular guest.
Yeah,
But it's going to be great because they're saying that Lanterns is supposed to be like True Detectives kind of tone. So
right.
Guy Gardner's going to be uh, he's going to be against that tone. He's going to it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. So I'm pumped for that. So Gunn had two things to accomplish in this movie. One, can Superman fly again, right? And two, is does he make you excited for the rest of the DCU? And I think for me, he's done that. He's accomplished both. I was excited about this Superman. I like the movie coming out. I'm excited for where the DCU is going. Because one thing that I like that he said in interviews is the thing with comic book movies that have been so bad lately is because they're going into production without a finished script. He is committed to having a finished screenplay before he starts production. So that tells me at least he's going to have a roadmap, and that he can develop a world correctly and not lay the tracks down as the train is coming. So I think the DCU is going to be in good hands. I'm looking forward. What are the next projects? Clayface and Batman before we get Supergirl, or
Right.
no, Supergirl's next, I think, in June 26th. So I'm looking forward to the world.
Okay.
Lobo, I'm kind of interested to see how Lobo is going to fit into all this. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the DCU. N- Not as excited as I was when Marvel, but Marvel is such a thing to the side that's an anomaly. It's never been done before, so I was like super excited. But here we've seen a few iterations of some universe building type movies, so but I am excited. I think the DCU's in good hands with James Gunn personally. Um, was it a perfect Superman movie? No, it had its issues, but I think he made enough of an imprint for people to go, this was a decent Superman movie overall. And I think he loves DC. He loves comics. He's a genre guy. So I think he's going to go into it with that um, love and care for the source material.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that James Gunn should have handed this project off to somebody else?
I think he wanted to do the first one to set it off, right? This is the first true DC. This is the launch of the DCU. So he
But I'm saying for the best end product, do you think he should have handed this off to somebody else?
No, I don't think so. I like the Superman.
Okay.
I think he did a good job with it. Yes, there's some every movie, no movie's perfect, and this movie had its imperfections, but these were imperfections that I could live with, based on the what he was trying to accomplish with his Superman. He wanted his Superman to be man. He wanted his Superman to be human. He wanted his Superman to be emotional. He wanted his Superman to have the same struggles that we do as commoners that don't fly, and that he struggles with the same emotions and sense of belonging as us. And I think he accomplished that. And I think he was a good director to start off the DCU.
Okay.
So no, I think he was fine doing it.
Well, I would unequivocally disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Who would you
Um,
have do it? Just out of curiosity.
well, that's the thing. I don't know yet. I haven't thought about it that deep, but I know that James Gunn was not the right guy for it. I love James. He's great. He's a great filmmaker, but his tone and his sensibilities completely overwhelmed this movie. That's clear, right? Even you said that whole scene where Superman is freaking out about the super shit stuff. That's not Superman. That's James Gunn. That's James Gunn like having a fucking therapy session with a script, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
shouldn't have it shouldn't have been there. Like it just shouldn't have been there. And not only that, I just think that I just think the fact that he had to break somebody else's story to tell his story, like that was so when you're writing a script, right? You have to you have to figure out what gets you into the story. Like where's your opener, right? Where's like what what's your idea that starts everything off? And James Gunn's idea seems to be, I know I'm going to make Jor-El and Lara like fascists.
Yeah.
I'm going to make
Genocidal
them
fascists.
genocidal fascist conquerors. That is not a good idea, right? And that's where his whole thing came from. That was the start of it. That was Superman's entire character arc. And that tells me that he's not the right guy to do this particular character if he had to do that. The other thing is if he had to overload the movie with so many characters so he could just James Gunn it, that's what I'm calling it, James Gunn in it, but that's what he did. If he had to overload it with so many characters, he's not the right guy for the movie because Superman is a standalone character. Sure, he's a part of the Justice League and there's team ups and shit, World's Finest, etc. But he's a character that exists on his own with his own he has his own field of gravity, right? He has his own field of gravity. That's how big this character is. You shouldn't need supporting characters to come in. And especially when the supporting characters are more interesting than the actual titular character of the movie, that's a problem, dude. That's a problem. The Justice Gang were more fun to watch than Superman was. They were
Yeah,
more interesting to watch.
it did make me excited for another team up to see them in a Justice League movie.
Yeah, they were more interesting to watch. Guy Gardner was more interesting to watch. Mr. Terrific was more interesting to watch. And they were just more fun to watch on screen. Superman was overperformative and totally exaggerated the entire time. Saving the goddamn squirrel, the G golly stuff, like that was just cartoonish and just unneeded. Like he just went to the wall with this campish style of comic book movie he wanted to do. He did to Superman what Taika Waititi did to Thor in Thor Love and Thunder. That's there's no other better way of putting it. Like Superman is the Batman and Robin of the DCU so far.
Oh, I wouldn't
And
go that far.
oh, it
Batman
is,
and
dude.
Robin was bad, dude. But I don't
So
think it
was
was that
this.
bad. I
So
didn't
was
think it was
this.
that bad.
It was pretty bad, man. It was pretty bad. If you look at it objectively and you look at where it fails as a film technically, then it becomes pretty bad, man. Like you can't shoot somebody in the fucking head in a cartoonish and campy movie. You just can't do it. And unfortunately, Gunn couldn't figure that out on his own. So that's a problem. And you also can't destroy a canon story so you can tell your story. That's just really lazy. Really fucking lazy. Um and the other thing that makes me nervous about him carrying forward the DCU is I think I think the one thing that's very clear to me now about James Gunn is he is good. He is excellent when he has guardrails. When he has creative guardrails to say, James, you've gone too far. Let's pull it back a bit. Let's make it work. Let's
So
find
he's
another
great.
way.
He's great when he's got a Feige, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly. I think that when he has somebody that can rein him in from these crazy ideas that this scope of creativity or the scope of imagination that he developed over a trauma, when he's got somebody that can pull him back from that abyss, he's excellent. But when he doesn't have anybody that's standing by him saying, James, this may not be the idea. We may need to explore something else here. I don't think he has that internal monologue that is going to save him.
Yeah, it's tough to give notes on a film when your director and writer is also the co-head of the studio.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I hear you. And tonally, I think he achieved what he wanted to do until he didn't. And for me, everything shifted with that execution scene. But had he stayed on that track, I think he found tonal shifts more in that first two-thirds of the movie than I did. But we both agree the tonal shift in the last third of the movie was head snapping. But
Yeah.
I thought the first two-thirds of the movie was great. Great. I thought he fit that tone of this kind of retro, nostalgic kind of 60s vibe of Saturday morning cartoons. And I was with him. I was with him all the way through. And then we set the whole last third of the movie in that pocket universe after the execution scene, and I was kind of out at that point.
Well, the first break in tone is when Superman's yelling at Lois. Like
Oh, right
that's
there
the
at the
first
beginning, huh?
break of that for me it is
Yeah,
because then you go to another scene where he's saying gee golly. Like you gotta find the equilibrium. You like it almost felt like he had a personality disorder. You know what I mean? Like he would lose his shit. He would just fucking snap, right? And that really didn't track for me because Superman is a character where even if he has a problem with you or he's like furious at you, he stays stoic, he stays calm, he stays collected, he stays measured in the way that he speaks to people, in the way that he communicates with people, right? Like even if you go back to the interview they did with Lois in Donner's film, sure it wasn't, there wasn't that this complicated issue, this
geopolitical
you
issue.
know this geopolitical issue, but at the same time you got a sense that he's the guy that would never lose his temper, right? And I don't remember I don't remember Snyder's Superman losing his temper unless someone was threatening his mother or something along those lines, or
Yeah,
threatening Lois, right? Like even after Lex throws Lois off of a building, Superman flies back up and just starts a casual conversation with Lex. Just basically like saying like, dude, you're not going to get away with this shit. Like I'm going to stop you.
yeah,
But he just threw Lois off a fucking building. And he's not even mad about it. Like I don't know, man. Anyways, that's that's where the tonal shift starts for me because it just indicates that he doesn't that what he wants in the script trumps trumps accurate characterization, and that's an issue for me moving forward, like with all of DC. And apparently he wants all the DC films to have their own tone. What? Like how do you bring them all together? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
yeah.
If your goal is to bring all your characters together into a big team up film, you can't have a separate tone for all your movies. You just can't fucking do it. It's just you have to find a middle ground with everybody. Just like Marvel was forced to.
Mm.
Like you got to find a middle ground. But he wants a tone like that that doesn't track.
Yeah,
It just
I'm
doesn't
interested to
track.
see what Clayface is going to be like. I mean, Alan Tudyk is going to be Clayface, I think, is what they said.
Yeah.
So he's great. So I have no idea what that movie's going to be about, but what's the tone of Clayface going to be? Or is it going to be homicidal, type of thing, or is it going to be like Clayface from the Harley Quinn animated series? So you just
Right.
don't know. You just don't know what he's going to do. But I think it's interesting
Right.
that we're getting a Clayface movie kind of early. I think in
Yeah.
this first phase. So we'll see how it goes. I like Gunn. I have a lot of faith
I
in
like
him.
him too. I
Yeah,
like him too, but like dude, I I just don't think he was the right guy for Superman. Like when I think about Superman, I think that the filmmaker has to defer to the character to inform the film, right? I think that's the one character where you're like, listen, you only have so much lateral movement with this character. You cannot just go like this whenever you want with this character because some things make sense and some don't, right? Some just will not track with an audience. And I think he just said, fuck it, I'm going to do James Gunn, featuring Superman. And that's what we got. We got James Gunn featuring Superman. And then, I was thinking about another tonal shift too. Like at the end of the movie, like you have a guy die by getting shot in the head, and then you have Mr. Terrific save the world by zipping the world back together like a winter coat. It just, it just doesn't flow well. It just doesn't make any sense. Like you got to set the stakes for your movie really early on and you got to set that tone and you got to maintain that shit, man. Like you just have to, or
Yeah.
else it just feels schizophrenic. Anyways, well, guys, listen, we hope you enjoyed listening to our review. Rich, good to see you again, buddy.
You too, sir.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to chop it up. I think we need to do another episode, like I said, just on Superman, just to go deep dive and talk about MOS. I've got a YouTube video coming out on MOS, or well, all the Snyder Superman movies, where I'm gonna debunk every bad faith argument. I've already got all lined out, and it's gonna put an end to all of it. It's gonna be like that Vince Carter meme. It's over. Over. We're done. Like no more bad faith bullshit about Snyder's Superman.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, and we're gonna so guys, we're gonna be back to a regular schedule really soon. We kind of have something up in the air right now with one of our other hosts, trying to figure that out. But we wanted to come back and do Superman for you guys because we knew you're all talking about it. We wanted to talk about it. We don't really have a lot of people to chop it up to this level with. So, and Rich always brings the dope insights, and he changed my mind a little bit on the Lois and Superman scene, or the Lois interviewing Superman scene, because that actually tracks. The whole couple thing tracks.
Yeah. I mean,
Gotta say.
nobody hurts you like family, right?
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. But yeah. Just dude, like, why couldn't you just fucking stay in the ballpark of the cartoonish and campy? Because like literally my whole review would have been, you know what? It just wasn't for me. I like the hyper realistic. I like the grounded. I like the mythic. I just would have been like, it's not for me. But no, you had to shoot somebody in the fucking head. Like what? Like what?
What did the falafel guy do, man?
Well, it's not just that. It's just like, why do you have to shoot anybody? And like, if you're gonna kill somebody, do it off screen. Like,
I don't
you know what I'm saying?
know if you follow. I don't know if you follow. Like Luther Core has a Twitter page or an X page.
I've seen that.
And it had a thing
yeah.
that said our condolences to whatever his name was. I'm like, holy smokes, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I saw that shit. Oh, and the other thing we didn't talk about before we go is how derivative this movie was. This was BVS meets Invincible meets The Boys. Like,
oh yeah, I meant to bring up the whole Viltrumite thing. The
full
whole,
stop.
Even Jor-El was dressed like a Viltrumite.
He was.
Yep.
Yeah. This movie was so fucking derivative, and the fact that James Gunn had to break somebody else's story to tell his story. That's more or less why I was so disappointed with this. It's because it just feels like he phoned it in, dude. Like I know he did an interview where he said this was the hardest movie he's ever done. I will believe that because of the strike. I'm sure it was very difficult during the strike to get this thing done. But this is not the most, like, as far as effort goes, this is not the most difficult movie he's ever had to do, because this didn't feel like this felt phoned in. So that's my final take. All right.
Good stuff.
Rich, you're kind of like left with nothing to say. You want to say something
shock.
finally?
I'm in shock.
At what? At what?
Huh? No, I'm speechless. No, I mean it was good. It was good conversation. I mean, I have my points, and I had tonal shifts too, just not as probably as deep as yours. And but like I said,
what did I just say to shock you though?
Oh no, I'm just saying, like the whole, like all the whole conversation. I was like, oh. So I don't have anything to counter a lot of what you're saying.
You thought I was going to like that movie more?
I didn't think you were going to hate it as much. I'll just say that.
I don't hate it. I don't hate anything.
I don't think you were going to, I didn't think you were going to dislike it as much as you have today.
Okay.
So I thought there would be some more good points. But you have brought out some stuff for me that made me reevaluate the movie. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. Cause I hate when I go like full negative and then nobody gets any value out of it. As long as you got some value out of it, that's great.
Man.
But like I said, I don't hate the movie. It just, there was just objective production issues with it in my mind. So, but no, I don't hate it. Anyways, I again, yeah, thank you for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time. To be continued. I'm Frank McGuire.
I'm Rich Herrera.
Peace.